Let's get sticky with some glue. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. I just thought I'd check in on you for the Builder Journal. So this is where we have a go at a project once a month, and this is this month's project. We are making some extra papers and materials out of old book page, topped with napkin, and from there we're able to make very, very thin pockets or tickets or tags, and this is one that I've just been having a look at. So I've already shown you how to make this, but this is the end result. So we make the papers stuck together and then we put over the top napkin, and from there you can create envelopes and you can sew it or stick it or add some embellishment, and then it makes one long as that. And you could also cut it in half to create even more pockets, so you could have 3 if you want to mass make things, or certainly have things that match throughout your journal. So that was just another style from the one that we've already seen. So this is the one that I've already made. Absolutely beautiful. Really like it. I love it for the fact that it's so thin. And here are the other ones that I'm now having a go at. So it's absolutely great. And these things could be sewn into the journal. And the binding could go in here, and this be able to open out, and you can line it with other papers or put in some more writing paper. But the fact that it is so thin, it's an old idea, but it is a good idea. So I'm just showing you again to see if you want to have a go at making it. Because of the multiple uses you can get out of something like this, it just doesn't need to be what I've shown there, which is a jumbo pocket. It could be cut into tags and tickets and tuck spots just by using this material, very thin. It's just nice. The PVA glue that I'm using here is sort of either a Mod Podge or an Elmer's glue, a wet school glue. Let me have a look here. It is just this, the PVA glue. You can get it in all countries, and you can buy it in bulk from the hardware store. So don't think you just have to go with the smaller bottles at the craft shop. See if you can get a bigger bottle. If you use this throughout the year quite regularly, you'll find that it's a cost-saving way of doing it to go and get it. It's used widely in construction industry as well. Carpenters would use it to make their wood glue. All you would do for a wood glue is to put a very fine sawdust into the glue, and then that becomes a wood glue. So this is fun just to use up the old napkins that I have. Just using up a napkin. We may have already seen this before on the channel. And then just lying down the napkin over the top of our glued book page. I'm going to turn it over and squash that in. I've just got some old wallpaper here, but the raised bits help so it doesn't stick completely. And look, I don't even need to do too much over the top there. That's really soaked in nicely now. So I could just go in. It's a good idea to water down the glue as well. I'm wanting to keep this project really thin. I want the paper to be nice and thin to add to journals, so I'm mass making these napkin boards in order to be able to cut them up and use them. So it's good to get sheets of these papers, and that's as simple as that. You would then put that aside, leave that to dry overnight on a plastic bag so it doesn't stick itself down, and then you can cut that up in any which way you like, fold it into pockets, envelopes, tags, tuck points, all the things that you could possibly think of, belly bands, there's all sorts of different things, and just have a play around with napkin. And if you haven't got napkin, then decorative tissue paper, or using your stamps, rubber stamps onto tissue paper that you have. Maybe you've got that as part of packaging something from a gift shop, or a pair of shoes, shoe paper as I call it. Yeah, so there we go. So I've been enjoying making the paper because it's got multiple uses and it is lovely and thin. Oh my goodness, I'm enjoying this so much. I'm going to make another one. This time I'm going to use tissue paper rather than the napkin. I'm just going to check that whether that works, because not everybody has napkin. It's not always available. So let's try a decorative tissue paper. So I'll just put down the wet glue all over. If time's of a pressure, you can also dry this off with a hairdryer or a heat drying tool. Alright, so I've got this decorative tissue paper here, which is an Emma Bridgewater tissue paper here in the UK. I've got this on one of my finds in TK Maxx actually. So I think that it may work. It's got a white background, so I'm hoping that we'll get the text writing peeping through. But not everybody has napkins, so I just wanted to show an alternative and see how we got on with that. And this is nice because it is springtime. So I like the crinkle. I'm not worried that that hasn't gone down totally perfectly. It's probably nicer if it doesn't. Just smooth that all down. Push the glue in. Looks like we're going to have some scraps here at the bottom, which is lovely. It's not as translucent from the looks of things as the napkin. However, it's still lovely and thin and delivering a really nice pattern over the book page. It'll give you a lovely paper to work with for making envelopes or large pockets. I think the aim here is to allow the glue to seep through, and then it will stick really well. So even if you want to use a heat tool, I would advise just waiting a few minutes, at least 10 minutes, to allow the glue to soak in, particularly if you're using something less porous than a napkin. If you're using this sort of paper, the tissue paper, it's got a bit of a sheen of a surface to it, this one, so it may just need to sit for a little bit and allow the moisture of the glue to settle into the fibres of the book page behind, as well as the top sheet, and then that will just stick down everything. Okay, so I'm just going to let that to sit and soak in the glue. While that's happening, we'll have a look at the ones that we have got. So this was just a napkin, now turned into these pockets. I like this long one. This is another one that can be trapped in the binding and become a swing. It's just a different way of doing the opening there. So that's be that. This was another one that I've done with some napkin. This was from Sainsbury's, but admittedly I did buy it last year. I did buy that one last year, so I'm not sure if they will be available. And I've made those into bookmarks. So we might back those onto in more interesting paper and sew around. So that's how that's going to work out, I think. Now let's trim that off and see if we can make a pocket here as well. Alright, so I'm going to make another pocket. I'm going to have a different go at this. I'm going to pull in about 1 inch on the left hand side like that. Let's get the foot. And then I'll bring this over, and that will be how it closes there. Okay, I'm using this piece of paper as my guide, and I'm just going to flip that down. Now I haven't got a nice flower like I had on the other one, so that gives room for more embellishment, which is quite interesting. So I've got the crease lines. I'm going to now cut away that at the bottom and that there. If we open it out, all I'm wanting to take away is this piece here. I think I wanted a little bit more, so I'll just take another section there. These are my scraps left over. Because I've done it this way, I've now got this bit as well, so I want to lose that little strip as well. It just gives me another scrap. And just take away that square as well. Taper in the bottom and taper in the sides. So you could either sew that bit into the signature or that bit into the signature, whichever way you find easier. So that would sit like that. And then we've got this flap here, and that will sit in there with a little bit of border. And for the top flap over, I'm just straightening this up and bringing these in with just a very gentle tapered bit here, just bringing that in very gently so that we've got that look. Just going to sort of round those corners off a bit, I think, to see if I like that look. It's quite nice. And I'm rounding the corner on the end there as well. And there. So for this one, I think I'm just going to use the strip idea here where we've got this there and use that piece, but it's not very strong, so I'm going to glue it to this piece here, which has a rip in it anyway. I'm sticking this here as a backing piece of paper, which will just give it a bit more strength. Okay. Just putting a little bit of Fabri-Tac there just to give that a real strength, and putting it down there and there. Just hold it in place with a couple of clips, and then anything overhanging I can tackle in a minute. Just let that set and hopefully it won't glue the flap shut. Let's see if I can remove that so that I don't get the glue on it. Okay, so that's that one. I have got this square here which might be fun just to add there. So if I just take the corners, this is the square that was one of the little offcuts that came off the bottom. So we just make a little square like that. There's not much going on there, so I'm just going to add this down, and we'll pick out the blue of that flower down the bottom. And I think I will put this on at an angle, so we'll have it as a diamond shape there. And just lose some of that. Remove the clips, and then let's just see whether we can slot this in. Oh, that's good. What's a button? There we go. That was what was missing, and we'll just add the button. Okay, and we'll add a button there. Yes, that brings in bulk, but the whole thing's so thin that I think we'll be okay. Oh, that's cute. And then that's still able to be sewn in either there or there. And then some sort of label would lend itself to being down there. So I think that that's lovely. I've created quite a few things out of this idea. So you can have a pocket looking like that. You can have the folder like that. We've got this one that we made in the previous video with the policy closure. That's beautiful. And then we've got scraps. So that will go with that one. keep the scraps together. There were scraps from this one, which is that, so it's got a matching pocket. That's lovely. We'll decorate that one up as well, because I could have 2 and I have 3 pouches, which we might do as well. But those are the 3 ideas. And then there was these, which was another one as well. So I did 4. And then I cut these down to make bookmarks. Some of the edges weren't any good, and some of the napkin image got cut off. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a 7 there. And then I've got some spare bits here, which I think could be sewn round. So that is from 4 different napkins, lots of different ways of doing this to make the jumbo pockets. I think that that's really, really great. These are nice things to gift as well, so someone can do something with them. A little bit of happy mail, really fun for a swap. So now we want to see if the tissue paper one has worked. So we'll just move those out of our way. And that is the tissue paper one. So there is a bit more of a sheen to that one. Feels quite nice though, so that's lovely. And then there's this one. I'm going to put in a thumb hole here. This is with a 1-inch circle punch from the EK punch range. So I think We Are Memory Keepers do some very similar, and they are lovely and thin, nice and easy for storage. These are fun pockets. They're large for secret journaling, bit of fun, nice interactive part to a journal, and certainly good if you've got loose papers or receipts or photographs that you don't really want to glue down. I think that's really lovely. If you're journaling with your own things, special memories, maybe you've got some black and white photos of your parents or grandparents, you know, family members, and you don't want to glue them down, it is quite nice to be able to put them in there and just keep them safe. So these are pockets to keep things safe. I've just found this trim here, this pretty lace trim, and I think that that looks really nice on here. I've got the flap like that, but another way of doing it is to cut this down, this top flap, maybe just cut it down in half, and then when this comes over and gets stuck all the way around, it becomes a pocket in there like that. And that is another look. That's a completely different look entirely. And if we just ink around there so that we can see that bit of it, just give it an edge. Just frame the edge in a bit with some brown ink, whatever that was, gathered twigs. Then that would become, actually quite like that now. I quite like the aging effect on there. That looks to me more interesting and takes away that modern vibe. Oh, that's lovely actually. I think it was just a little bit stark in places. Whoopsie, we've just lost a bit. Oh, well, what if we emphasise? Okay, so let's emphasise that portion. I've just got heavy-handed with it by mistake, so I'll just take that down a bit. Start again. And then definitely like that. I think I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to cut away this. I'm going to glue down this. So that's that bit. And then round the corner. Thumb hole in, mind the bee. In fact, this could be a large tag, so we could even put a tab top on it. Ooh, interesting. So it gets sewn in there, then it gets glued shut all the way around 2 sides, It's now a nice pocket, and or it could just be a lovely movable thing. We'll just age that to match in. I like this now. It's funny, isn't it? Sometimes you're not sure, and then you work it, and then the ideas pop out at you a bit better and you can understand it. So the ink just transforms it into something more vintage, which I find more interesting. I didn't like it before. Well, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And now I'm going to... When I feel like I can hardly part with something, then I know that I've done it right. When I want to keep it, then I know that I've got it right. Keep the little off pieces, keep the little off cuts for snippet rolls or other things. Yes, that's nice now. And just a little fussy cut stuck down there. That is from an older botanical book. Don't ask which one, I cannot remember. I was gifted some pages, that was what that was. So I couldn't tell you where it came from. This has wanted more embellishment to make me like it. So that's okay, because it's been quite fun. It didn't come together as easily or as quickly as the other two. Good, okay, so I've got now 4 different style pockets just from those napkin ideas. Scrappy offcuts can go in there. That's quite fun to make extra bits if there's a double page and you want to bring in something else, it just helps. So there's some more ideas on this month's project for the Builder Journal, and you only need 1, but you could make 4. We are going to end up making 4 signatures, so you may like to have 1 in each signature, but it's entirely up to you. And certainly having a go at making the book page napkin paper allows you to be able to create other things. Quite different with the ripples, almost a slight leather feel to it. But I think the book page is dark enough to be able to give that vintage vibe. It just didn't show through as much on this one because that was the decorative tissue paper. So it's a different look, but I like it now that it's worn, and I love it with the ink. Really, really interesting. So that looks like a real vintage magazine paper. One that's really nice. It's a lovely soft smooth finish. So yeah, I'm really pleased with those, whereas the others are matte finish. So really cool. I shall make more of those. They are fun to make. Okay guys, so that was just some inspiration there if you were running dry on ideas. And the other thing to do is try some tissue paper with some stamping on, see where that takes you. And if you'd like to have a look at the Facebook page, I'd love to see your pictures. If you put those up, we can all share our inspiration on the similar theme or similar idea. Everybody's going to have something slightly different. You're all going to have different napkins. Each napkin creates its own look, as you can see here. And this is the sort of thing that we started out with, so you can see how you can make things out of these napkins that you can readily get available from the supermarket, certainly in the UK. You may have to hunt around for them, but you can find them in junk shops, charity shops, thrift stores. You may be lucky. If not, have a look at the decorative paper, and if you can't get any of that, then white paper for wrapping or packaging. Have a go with some permanent ink stamps, rubber or silicone stamps, to create some patterning across book page. I think that will be really fun. And if anybody is interested in these ones, they came from IKEA. Alright, so thanks for watching everybody, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.